Welcome back to Demigod Debut. I'm Mal, Calypso hater and longtime Percy Jackson fan.
I'm sorry. I can't even. What do you, Calypso hater? She's so precious in this part.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we're coming back to this. Now I'm gonna be like, I'm Julie, Calypso defender. What the hell? I love Calypso.
I figured you would be. I have some feelings. Anyway, this is a podcast about Julie getting to read two of my favorite Percy Jackson chapters ever for the first time, and us getting to talk about them and fight about Calypso. We are also joined by a guest that we've been waiting to have back on the podcast, and this is our friend Laura once again.
Hi, thanks for having me back. Cue the applause, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And Laura has just entered her Chiron era because she recently got a job as a Latin teacher.
I did.
Congrats. How's that going?
Thank you. It's going well. This is my first time being in charge of a classroom, but I like it so far.
Have you given any of them a sword and had them kill their math teacher?
No, I don't think that's allowed. Also, we've talked about this. I don't know where to get a sword like that, first of all. And second of all, if I were to find one, I would keep it for myself. I'm not giving it to a 15-year-old kid.
That is the correct answer, and you get to keep your job.
It's a win-win-win. Yeah.
So how excited are you for these chapters?
I'm so excited. First of all, you went through the Titan's Curse, and I heard nothing from you about being a guest. And then I saw that you had started Battle of the Labyrinth, and I was like, oh my God, I still haven't heard anything. Do they not want me back on? I'm going to be really sad because number 4 is my favorite. And then I got that long-awaited text, and I responded. I don't know if Mallory told you. I responded with that meme of the sicko in the window being like, haha, yes. Because this is why this book is my favorite. Chapter 11 is why. It's so interesting revisiting it now as a queer person versus when I was
interesting
in middle school being like, oh my God, I'm really, she has a boyfriend and he has a girlfriend.
Well, because this queer person just fully giggling and kicking my feet like I'm 9 years old again.
No, I think it's still fun, but it's interesting to me that the reason why it's fun to me is different now, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, because back then it was oh, maybe one day I'll find a nice boy and I can look angry at him and then kiss him in a dangerous moment and then vanish and then we'll survive and be happy and live happily ever after, right? Whatever. But now I'm it's cute because they went from haters to lovers and they clearly care about each other so much, but they're so young and I'm oh, look at those little kids, right? So
right,
yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's get into it. We have much to discuss. So chapter 11 is I Set Myself on Fire. Just for context for Laura, we ended the last time after facing the Sphinx, and then we don't really have any more adventures before we make it right to the Forges. Tyson is very excited to meet Hephaestus, which is sweet, but also feels a little naive after the last time he met one of his heroes. And I have to say, I'm really obsessed with the vibes of Hephaestus's workshop. He's got some obvious mythological things he's working on, and then also just a 98 Toyota Corolla.
That was so funny. I wrote a note down. I was 98 Corolla?
Do we think he's done something magical to the Corolla, or is this just a regular car?
It's just a great car. It's a great, reliable car.
What stuck out to me was his outfit. I don't think I paid this god any attention the first time I read through the series. But now they're describing him in greasy, dirty overalls, and he's got these big ass boots, and I'm that was me in college, working on building sets in the grimy shop.
Hephaestus is dressed like a lesbian, confirmed.
Yeah. So I was I identify with this.
The thing that made me laugh about the Hephaestus appearance description was the way that Percy's oh, he must have cleaned up the last time I saw him on Olympus because right now he looks grimy and hideous. Dude, you came into his home. This is just how he dresses. He's allowed to look like whatever he wants.
Right. It's when old men don't wear shirts in their houses. I'm I guess I shouldn't complain, but I will just avert my eyes because what the hell?
I mean, it's your house. If you want to be nasty, fine. But I was typing my little notes in my bed on Sunday, hair unbrushed, in the same pajamas that I've been wearing every night for a week and a half, and I was Percy would absolutely roast me because in my own home I also tend to look a little unkempt and gross, and I think I'm allowed.
The thing is that how old is he? He's 16.
He's 14.
Boy.
He's 14.
14 in this book? Oh,
yes, he's a baby.
I also, in your defense, don't think you were like as dirty, like grimy as Hephaestus is from working. But yeah, like it's his house, it's his domain, and he's literally on the job. Like you're
Right.
interrupting his work. So why are you complaining?
Like, don't come in to where somebody has a very hands-on job and expect them
Right.
to look as presentable as they look for a meeting with essentially their boss.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the context we've met him in before.
Yeah, the people who threw them out of their domain because he was ugly, like, yeah, I would put my best foot forward.
But I do appreciate that Hephaestus kind of roasts them right back because he's like, "Did I make you? Oh, I didn't. Good, because this is shoddy workmanship. Brutal."
That was funny. I laughed.
But also, like, he's not wrong. Why are humans built the way that they are? Like, my knees and my back hurt all the time.
I do think about that a lot. When I would do my pre-med classes, I would be like, oh, this is weird. Sometimes there's fascinating stuff about the body, and then sometimes it's like, that seems like a design flaw. Like, why are we like that?
Mhm.
And then I also think a lot about natural selection because if we, like, without modern medicine, I would have died like ages ago. And so I understand Hephaestus being like, there's a lot of work that could be done to improve that.
Love him, an icon. Love that his response to Percy saying that, "Oh, we've met before," was, "Well, if I didn't kill you last time, probably don't have to kill you now." And I also just love that the only member of their group that he seems to like at all is Tyson.
Tyson.
Incredible. And he asks like why Tyson is with them, and Tyson just goes, and he goes, "Yes, well said."
Yeah, that was so
It's very much giving like when you talk to a baby as if they're saying actual words.
oh, that's not how I interpreted it. I interpreted it as like, there's no good answer, so good answer, like to not say anything.
To me, it felt like when you're like having a fake conversation with a baby and they're like, "Bah," and you're like, "Oh wow, I never thought about it that." Like you're just
Yeah,
acting like it's a real conversation.
that's also fun. Yeah.
Then Hephaestus kind of tells him that they're wasting their time looking for Daedalus because he's probably not going to help. And also, maybe the reason that Tyson didn't have anything to say earlier is because he was kind of like bursting, wanting to tell Hephaestus about what happened with Briares.
Could you run through that quickly?
You don't remember?
Listen, this book is about the moment in chapter 11 that we haven't talked about yet. That is what this book is about to me. Okay.
That's the whole
Yeah.
book. That's the whole
Yeah.
book. So they went to Alcatraz and they found Briares, one of the hundred-handed ones, in the cage. And Tyson's like, the hundred-handed ones are so cool, they're so powerful, they can break apart mountains. But Briares was really scared and very down on himself and like, I don't deserve to be alive and whatever. And
Aw.
so it was very sad, but he kind of disappointed Tyson because Tyson really looked up to him.
Yeah.
And so, that was kind of the gist of what happened.
Never meet your heroes.
Right. We also get some Hephaestus lore here. And he gets into his tragic backstory about being thrown off Olympus by his mother, who like really cares about having a quote unquote perfect family.
Yeah.
Oh. Then Hephaestus kind of closes his sad story with saying that you can't trust anyone or anything but the work of your own hands. And, this is just continuing the theme of meeting a lot of really, really miserable immortals in this book. Like, all the immortals
They need therapy.
that we have met, yes, need to go to therapy. But, of course, we're not going to take no for an answer. And so Hephaestus finally says, "Okay, fine, I'll tell you if you do me a favor, aka going to the forge under Mount St. Helens, which is also conveniently where Typhon is trapped, which I'm sure will not be a problem."
Wink, wink. Yeah.
And so, they do this, they get the secret to navigating the maze. Hephaestus says he thinks someone is using this forge and that they always are gone by the time he gets there, so he needs like demigods to go and scope it out. So they're like, "Sure, we'll do it." And they head off, following our little spider again. Unfortunately, we do not all make it to the forges
Yeah.
because there's another tunnel that Grover realizes is the way to Pan. And Annabeth is like, "We'll come back for it," but Grover knows that this is his one shot and they're not going to find this again. So Percy suggests that they split up.
Yeah. What do you think of that decision?
Famous last words. That's what I think of that decision.
Yeah.
I'm like, you never
Yeah.
split the party. Grover can't go alone, so Tyson volunteers to go with him because he, quote, is not like Hephaestus and trusts his friends. And so, Julie, you might remember I said last time that I didn't think you were going to like chapter 11. This was the moment I was referencing. So I was like, oh, we're about to lose Tyson? Julie's going to hate this one.
I do, but he's getting over his fear of Grover.
That's true.
Wait, he was scared of Grover? Isn't he like much bigger than Grover?
Yes, in like towards the beginning of the book, all of a sudden Tyson was like, I don't like Goat Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, to dislike someone is different from being afraid of them.
Grover was also scared of Tyson because he was a Cyclops, so.
Well, yeah, that makes more sense to me, especially considering what they went through in book 2.
Yeah, Tyson not liking Grover, though, is interesting.
Yeah.
It's like random beef between them that we've all of a sudden added.
Like, just for the sake of having beef? Like, is that...
But they're getting to go off on their little duet adventure, so fun.
Their side quest, yeah.
It's like a buddy cop movie.
I was gonna say, what Hephaestus really needs is not a half god, half human. He needs a human to go in there. He needs, like, a cop. You know what I mean?
What?
Because they're not gonna sense a cop coming if they have no god blood in them.
What are the cops gonna do?
What did Percy do? Like,
Percy took care of business.
not on purpose. Okay, what happened was not entirely intentional. There's you know that meme where the bullworm is like terrorizing Bikini Bottom? So Patrick's like, oh, I know how we can solve the problem. We'll just take Bikini Bottom and move it over there.
And push it over there.
Yeah, push it over there. I feel like we could take some of the NYPD and just push them over there to Mount St. Helens and they would figure it out eventually.
Oh, okay, so it's not actually about like the cops are gonna save us. It's about like getting rid of the cops.
No, it's about getting rid of the Telkeens.
And you trust a cop?
This is a pro cop podcast, Mal.
No, the cops want to stand in the subway and do nothing. Except for arrest people for skipping the $2.90 fare.
No, I'm not. No, we're not. Maybe we should cut this part out, actually. I regret bringing up SpongeBob and this whole...
And you regret bringing up cops.
Yeah, I do regret bringing up cops. Okay, cross that out.
I was gonna say, I think it's kind of funny how we get some really great Percabeth moments as soon as we get rid of Tyson, because obviously we've got like what happens in the rest of this chapter, and then you also have in like Sea of Monsters when the ship explodes and they think Tyson is dead. That's when you get like iconic moments such as like Cersei's Island and the sirens and like,
right.
I'm sorry, Julie, but sometimes we just got to get rid of Tyson.
I think there's a couple things about it, right? Like he's cockblocking without knowing it, because I think he's too sweet to like be doing that on purpose, or maybe he's like oblivious, whatever. I think the other thing is that tragedy brings people closer together, right? So like the stakes are higher once Tyson and Grover leave, because now it's not just that you have to worry about your own safety and the safety of the other person with you. You have to worry about the other people and what the hell they're doing. So I feel like that the trauma bonds people, right? So like, yeah.
You're right. So Annabeth is like splitting up is a really, really bad idea, which it is, especially given that we're about to get even more split up. But
correct.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. Then for some reason, we start to get the full lore on how Annabeth was born.
Yeah.
Which I kind of thought that we got before.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I remember us talking about Athena being a maiden goddess and like creating her kids from thoughts. So, oops.
I also just feel like I read that section way earlier in the series. Like I feel like I had known that for longer for some reason.
Yeah, but I couldn't find it. So something that I'm realizing as I'm reading through for this podcast is that like Annabeth loves to give us like half of a lore drop and move on, because I went back to the Lightning Thief to see when she talked about like how she came to be, kind of, and she says like, oh, my mom's a goddess, and Percy's like, oh, I guess you weren't born in a hospital, and she's like, no, when my dad got me, I was brought to him by Zephyr the West Wind, and then he tried to get Athena to take me back, and that was like it. I mean, and then there's no discussion of where Annabeth came from in Titan's Curse, because she's gone that entire time. And I don't think that there's any in Sea of Monsters, but maybe there is.
I feel like they're a little busy most of the times to like dive in, so I don't blame them. It's also like, I feel like this is not an invasive question for us, because I'm presuming we were all born in the human way.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, you freak. Oh my God. Um, I feel like though, because she already has the knowledge that she was born in a weird way, like a non-normal way, it's like maybe a sensitive subject for her, so she doesn't want to talk about it. Plus, they're in the middle of a dangerous mission. So why is he asking her these questions right now? Because he's a stupid boy, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also kind of illustrates how far we've come, the two of them, because he wouldn't have asked, these invasive
Right.
questions in the middle of a mission, and like she would not have answered just like 2 years ago. So, and then we also get the full lore on like when Athena falls in love, it's fully intellectual and it's like a meeting of the minds. And then
Yeah.
their kids come from, quote, the divine thoughts of our mother and the mortal ingenuity of our father. And this is awfully heteronormative for something that so doesn't need to be. Like, Athena absolutely has to be having intellectual connections with women too. Like, you're making mind babies. They can have two moms.
I didn't even think about that. That's so homophobic of me. I read it and I was just like, it didn't strike me as too heterosexual for some reason. But I get it now that what you're saying, because like if it's just your minds, why aren't you? Unless Athena's homophobic and she's like, no women.
OMG.
Yeah. Part of me read that and I was like, that sounds kind of sexy actually, like a meeting of the minds. But like not to have a baby. Just like being attracted with someone's mind. I'm
I
normal.
like that.
Mallory doesn't believe me. Maybe that's why I can't find a girlfriend.
Yeah, you're looking for a meeting of the minds.
Yeah,
That's too much to ask for in this day and age. Get
probably.
on the apps like everyone else.
No.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that I feel like I've spent more time in the like modern Rick Riordan books where he does get a little more, cuz I feel like if he was writing this now, it would be like the same passage, but he would be like people that Athena like
Yeah.
meeting of the minds with like people with our mortal parent, and
Yeah.
like it wouldn't be so focused on father.
I mean, this was written in 2008, copyrighted in 2008,
Yeah.
though, so it was a while ago. And I admire the fact that he's grown. So good for him.
Right. Yeah, I'm just like, this is awfully heteronormative. And it
Yeah.
also might just be like Annabeth being heteronormative
Heteronormative, maybe.
because she's like a 14-year-old girl growing up in 2008. But,
Who's presumably not queer. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it depends how you read it. But
The way I read it, I feel like she'd be the kind of character who, when she gets to college, a nice girl might hit on her and she'd be like really flustered.
yeah, I could see a late in life bisexual awakening for Annabeth Chase. I mean,
Oh, okay. All right.
back on the idea of thought babies, though, like, could you imagine just spending a late night in the library with Athena? You're like having an intellectual discussion, you're studying, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, here's this baby, it's yours."
Yeah.
It's literally baby trapping.
I wonder if she ever makes children by accident. Like, and also, do the men know that this is a possibility if they start engaging in intellectual conversations with her? Like, she's gonna warn them.
How do you practice safe sex that way?
Can you?
Keep the conversation very surface level, is my guess.
It feels like she's just springing these children on these people who just want to focus on academics. Like, no wonder Annabeth's dad is like, "What am I supposed to do with this baby?"
Yeah, is he like getting a PhD?
Yes.
Like, can you imagine a PhD student just like having a baby as a single father? Like, that would be really stressful.
Yes, because that's the thing. He was in the middle of his doctoral program at Harvard when he met Athena. So, like, he's a PhD student.
She's preying on the PhD student.
He just wants to play with his silly little plane. I can't believe I'm defending Frederick Chase.
I know. Oh, I didn't know he had his first name.
He does, it's Frederick.
I got it. I'm a fast learner. Thank you very much.
Also, are these children like genetically related to their mortal parent? They would have to be, right? Like how many children of Athena just end up abandoned because their mortal parents are like, there's no way this child is mine. We didn't engage in typical baby making activities,
That's a good question. I mean this with love and respect. I think you're reading into it.
Okay, but that's the point of having a podcast. Thank you.
No, I know, but I think it's like stressing you out, and I really don't think it should be. I say it with love and concern in my heart.
I think about this a normal amount. Thank you so much.
I thought the normal amount was like you read it and then it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
We could also get into the age-old fandom question, which is, does Annabeth Chase have a belly button?
What the? Oh, Oh, I've never heard that question, but I understand. I'm gonna say yes for the sake of protection, because if she doesn't have a belly button, it's like very clear then that she's not a human, right?
Julie, where do you stand on belly button?
I really don't know one way or the other. I gotta be honest, didn't even cross my mind to think about whether or not she had a belly button.
So what do you think?
Yes. I mean,
Innie or outie? That's the real
Right.
question.
Oh, that
I don't know.
difference.
I don't know.
Like, how else is she gonna get a belly button piercing when she?
Right. Yes. When she has her bi-awakening, she has to get the belly button piercing.
Right. This is everything is, like woven together by the fates, right? So like
I hate belly button piercings.
No, me too. I'm not a fan.
I just feel like it's a great place for an infection to grow, so I feel like you really shouldn't get a piercing down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you.
Anti belly button ring.
Okay, noted.
Okay, also I really love that Annabeth is like, Percy, is now really the time for us to be talking about the exact details of how I was born.
Well, she's correct.
And he's like, no, you're right. But the way that he goes, I don't know if I can ever look at Annabeth the same again. Right, because this is the most groundbreaking thing that happens between them in
Right.
this chapter.
But he doesn't know what's gonna come up, right? He doesn't know.
So, the forge. We're at the forge. Percy's like, we can't sneak up on them, and Annabeth's like, well, I can, and immediately like goes invisible and goes to check it out before he can argue. And of course, he doesn't like this, because he's protective,
Because he's a man.
and also because he cares. And I think he would do this
Yes.
for other people, not just Annabeth.
Grover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does start kind of feeling kind of crazy, so he ends up sneaking in after her and does the very classic thing where he ends up hiding in a cart of a bunch of scrap metal.
Mhm.
And the cart ends up right in the middle of a what's happening to your body video for young monsters.
I love that. I love it. Okay, so like health class, like 101, your body's
Yeah, did y'all have to watch these?
No.
Like one of those? Oh, I did.
that. I'm so sorry.
And they gave us all deodorant and pads afterwards.
Okay, the essentials.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a talk in 5th grade about what a period was, and that was about it.
Yeah, well, I didn't have anything until high school.
High school?
Yeah, Catholic school, baby.
I mean, I live in Texas. It's like very abstinence focused. Like, you
Mm.
can't get pregnant if you don't have sex ever.
What?
Clearly not if you're hanging out with Athena, but
Oh, true. Yeah, that's dangerous.
Oh, we got the classic condom on a banana. 12th. It was like 11th grade, so they waited a while.
Our nurse just gave us condoms, and she was like, "Yeah, just open them up and
Oh,
see what it's like." Anyway,
okay, back to our silly little monsters.
Yeah. so they're watching.
And this is another name that I'm gonna have to take a stab at because who knows? They're Telkines? That's what I'm gonna go with. And apparently we're involved in creating Poseidon's trident and like the greatest weapon of the Titans.
I love this part when on page 200, when the instructor's like, "Who do we serve?" and they say Kronos. And will you make weapons for his army? Yes. Like it feels like when you're at a sporting event, right?
I would kill for that level of participation from my class.
Oh my God. Yeah, kind of same.
Also, Percy, like, facing the class is so funny to me. The way he vaporizes a bunch of them and is like, new lesson, monsters vaporize when you hit them with a sword, class dismissed, and runs. 10 out of 10 comedy.
It's very Percy coded.
Yeah, it's great.
Like hijinks and yeah.
And then he yells for Annabeth and she drags him down behind this big cauldron thing and they, exchange a little info. And they see some Telkines who are talking about a blade that needs cooling in blood. So, like, that's certainly evil. And then the class bursts through the doors and they're out of time. And I'm just going to read the next part, okay? Because it's too good. It's too good.
Wow. Live reading. Okay.
Put your cap back on, I said. Get out. What? Annabeth shrieked. No, I'm not leaving you. I've got a plan. I'll distract them. You can use the metal spider. Maybe it'll lead you back to Hephaestus. You have to tell him what's going on. But you'll be killed. I'll be fine. Besides, we've got no choice. Annabeth glared at me like she was going to punch me, and then she did something that surprised me even more. She kissed me. Be careful, seaweed brain. She put on her hat and vanished. I probably would have sat there for the rest of the day, staring at the lava and trying to remember what my name was, but the sea demons jarred me back to reality.
Excellent. It's good that this is a podcast because, like, the first time I read it today, I was like, my face was doing that like dopey smile kind of thing because it's so cute, even though they're in like mortal danger.
I know.
This scene to me is like when a celebrity dies because I remember exactly where I was when I read it the first time.
So I also remember exactly where I was when I learned about this scene, and notice that I did not say Reddit. So what happened was, I'm a pretty bad skim reader, especially when a situation is stressful. So like when I read this for the first time in middle school, I completely missed the kiss. Did not register at all.
Wait, what?
Yeah, did not know that it happened.
Like you skipped over the words, or you read the words and it just didn't register?
Not sure. I think I didn't register what exactly was happening. I did not know that this happened. No idea. And you might be thinking, oh, surely you caught it in high school, like when you reread them all and made Percy Jackson your whole personality. You'd be wrong. No idea. No clue. I was fully in college before I knew that this happened.
Wait, what?
Yeah, picture this, okay? You're me. It's fall of 2018. I had a job. I was essentially working as like an editor for student research papers. And I was in the office with a friend, and it was pretty slow because no one was coming to us for editing. So we had a lot of time to talk. I was also like deep in the Percy Jackson trenches for probably like the third time of my life, because I had gotten tickets to see the musical tour in Chicago that January. So like that was coming up. And like I also had influenced my little brother and all his friends to like read the series, and they went as Percy Jackson characters for Halloween. Like
Wow.
I was deep in this. And I just remember her talking at one point, like, oh, what's your favorite Percabeth moment? Because like mine is the volcano kiss. And I remember being like, the what? And I'm not sure if I asked her or if I looked it up later. I probably looked it up later because I didn't want to look stupid.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that there was a kiss there.
Wait, so hold on. So did you know that they kissed at all in the whole series?
Yes.
When did you think their first kiss was?
So you see, I thought they kissed once in the series.
In book 5?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Mallory. What?
Mm-hmm.
They're just really good friends, right?
Well, no, I like knew they were into each other, but I didn't think that they had kissed before.
They're constantly in dangerous situations. Of course, they're gonna kiss each other.
But I can't believe that it wasn't pointed out to me sooner. Like I was in the trenches of Tumblr. I was reading so much Percabeth fan fiction. Like
This is not something that people have to explicitly tell you because you are a fan. You should have known.
Yeah, but I'm like, I can't believe I didn't see some like fan art or somebody talking about it or something. Like I can't believe it had to be pointed out to me when I was fully like in my 20s.
Damn, that's kind of embarrassing though.
Yeah. And there's some other things I missed, and one particular thing that makes me missing this even worse, that I'll get into later, but like this is my greatest shame. This is my greatest shame, and I have just exposed it on a podcast.
It is a little embarrassing. Yeah.
I've just exposed that I don't know how to read.
Because now I'm like, what else have you missed? Not just in like the Percy Jackson series, but like your whole life.
A lot of things, probably.
Oh my God. So what do you think of their first kiss, Julie?
I thought it was very cute. It was like a goodbye kiss, just in case we both die.
Yep. Very cute.
Very romantic.
I'm always a sucker for we might die, and so I need to kiss you for the road.
Oh,
So good.
it's good.
And the whole, she looked like she was gonna punch me, but then she kissed me instead. God.
Okay, but my thing is, would he have been surprised if she punched him? Like it said, even more surprised. I don't think he would have been
No.
surprised if she punched him.
He would not have.
Plot hole.
And then the way that he's like, I would have sat there for the rest of the day staring at the lava and trying to remember what my name was. Like, she really rocked his world with that quick kiss.
Okay, wait. Have you never had a kiss like that?
They're 14. It would have been like quick, right? Like, I don't think this was
Like, are they kissing with tongue? Like, come on.
I'm imagining like it was just a quick little peck.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's a 14-year-old boy, so it's like, and it's the first one.
Yeah, like every fan art I've ever seen of this, she's like got him by his shirt and his eyes are open and he looks so surprised. Like he doesn't even have time to react. Like that's kind of how I imagine it. Like not that this is some earth-shattering like make-out session. Like this is just a quick little peck and he's still like, who am I?
It's very shocking. Like, if it happened, clearly kind of in love with each other, that's earth-shattering. Kissing someone you're in love with? Mal, you need to fall in love.
Okay, all right.
It's the thought that counts.
It feels fitting that Laura is here for the big Percabeth first kiss because Julie has kissed everyone on this podcast episode.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of us.
I know, but I'm just saying.
So there's only 2 people besides Julie. I thought you were gonna say that I was Julie's first kiss, in which case I would have said no, I wasn't.
My first kiss was at prom.
Oh.
That's cute.
My first kiss was with a guy in Union Square Park, and all I could think about was the fact that there was a rat running by near us, and
So romantic.
I was like, the fact that I'm more focused on that and not this man says a lot.
It's an omen. It's an omen.
Yeah.
And my mom told me, don't let that convince you that you don't like kissing men. And I was like, too late.
Because a rat ran by?
No, just because I was like not into kissing this man at all. Like so not into kissing him that I was just like, I think there are rats in this park.
Were your eyes open and you saw the rats, or it was like I'm sensing other sounds, so I'm not paying attention to this? I'm sorry, I need to know.
The eyes may have been open. That
Okay,
might be
yeah.
why I knew there was a rat.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Never kissed anyone in a volcano though, so.
No, can't say.
Yeah, I'm not planning to do that.
Summer plans? Anyone? No? Okay.
Don't want to get that close to a volcano, really.
Oh, I thought you meant you don't want to get that close to me. I was like, whoa, okay.
No!
You already have.
Wow. But okay, wait. Hold on, back up. But you were kissing as roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Julie and I kissed because we were on a date.
Yeah, different.
Yeah. Different context.
Okay, fine. Why are you trying to take this from me?
I'm not trying to take it from you. I'm just trying to show that there's a distinction.
Julie was the first girl I ever kissed, okay? It's special.
Aww, that's so sweet.
Oh, God.
So I was like, I don't even know if I like kissing girls. And Julie was like, well, you could kiss me. And I was like, good, that was the goal of me saying that, actually.
Wow, sneaky.
It worked!
Sure did.
And they were roommates.
And they were roommates.
You were roommates, yeah.
Just some podcast lore for everyone.
I feel like I've dropped that lore before on this podcast. So now the fun ends, okay? The fun ends because we got to talk about the end of this chapter because this is where things get bad.
What is your definition of bad?
Percy almost dies.
Right, but he doesn't, right? And I feel like that happens once a book, right?
Sure, okay, fine. So Annabeth is gone. The Telkines have Percy surrounded. He's very freaked out by their unfinished blade that they're working on. And, turns out he lied to Annabeth when he said he had a plan because, fatal flaws be fatal flying. He just wanted to save her.
That's all men do.
Right.
Lie.
And it's starting to dawn on him that this may actually be the end. And he considers that he has the ice whistle from Quintus, but he doesn't want to use it. He doesn't trust it. The Telkines start setting Percy on fire with lava, which kind of makes the chapter title a lie. He's not setting himself on fire. The Telkines are setting him on fire. So
yeah, I was gonna say that.
And then we kind of have to read Percy recounting being tortured, which is terrible.
It's not that long though.
Yeah, but he says he remembers screaming and that the pain is worse than anything he's ever felt. And this guy has held the sky, so he has felt pain. He also remembers what he learned at the ranch, that the sea is within him. But this is crazy. He pulls ocean water from nothing, ends up creating this explosion of power and literally erupting Mount St. Helens.
Hasn't she been through enough?
It's always the men doing this, right?
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The chapter ends with him rocketing out of this volcano and passing out. So
yeah, it's actually really poetic, that last paragraph.
It actually is. It is really poetic.
Good job, Rick. I mean, that last sentence though is very pulled from a coming of age book. I was a comet hurtling toward the earth.
Yeah.
But that could mean a lot of things. It could be used in a lot of contexts. I could see it being used in a rom-com. But here he's literally in danger. So
And okay, in classic me fashion, I'm gonna start overthinking some things because
okay.
I'm thinking about Percy and Grover's empathy link. Because Percy's oh, I might die here. But if Percy dies, Grover also dies. That's the whole thing. But also, there's this element of them being able to feel each other's emotions and feel what's going on with each other and communicate. But we don't really know the specifics. And maybe I'm just thinking about this because they kind of talk about it a lot in the newest book, Wrath of the Triple Goddess. And Percy talks about how, oh, Grover can probably feel how angry I am right now. And he says something you can't share an empathy link with someone without knowing that something is hurting them.
Oh.
And so I'm in a situation like this where Percy literally almost dies. What is Grover getting on his end of the empathy link?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Grover's locked in. He is focused on finding Pan, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was something is happening to me. We're getting closer to Pan. I gotta keep going.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think Grover is gonna connect it to whatever is happening to Percy, unfortunately.
Well, I'm just kind of curious, is the empathy link something they feel all the time and just kind of ignore? Is it something that they only feel when the other person intentionally wants them to feel? Give me the lore. I need answers on.
Yeah, you might have to email Rick about that.
Okay. Anything else on this one?
No. By the way, can I just say I had to handwrite my notes because I think my printer privileges have been revoked at work.
No, they found out that you were printing out Percy Jackson notes every week.
They're like, "Why are you using so much paper?" And half the shit I print is not work related. I was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to print at work anymore."
Okay. Chapter 12. I take a permanent vacation.
This is also a lie, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, right, not
What the
permanent.
hell?
Maybe he just doesn't understand vocabulary.
Mm.
He is 14.
He likes to engage in hyperbole. Because, I set myself on fire is a better chapter title than I am set on fire. And I take a permanent vacation is better than I take a vacation, so.
That's true.
For the emphasis, for the drama.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Here's my disclaimer about my intro earlier about being a Calypso hater. So,
Blame yourself.
as a child, I hated her for coming in between Percy and Annabeth, but that was not very
Oh.
girl's girl of me. And my dislike of Calypso now more comes from reasons that don't really come into play this chapter at all, other than the way that it is always kind of weird to me when an immortal wants to get with a teenager, and like a young teenager. Percy is 14.
Okay.
Get away from him. Get a job. You're like 3,000.
Yeah.
Because, like, Calypso's only real appearance in mythology, as far as I can tell, is in the Odyssey, when she keeps Odysseus on her island for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And in the Odyssey, she's kind of said to be like a seductress who's keeping him there against his will. So, like, that's not great.
Right.
But I will say that the fact that when Zeus orders her to release Odysseus, she basically goes, oh, okay, so it's fine for a male god to hook up with mortals, but when a woman does it, it's a problem. That's unfortunately iconic, but it is kind of weird for her to be, like, somehow old enough to have a relationship with Odysseus, who was a grown man, and then also, like, young enough for it to not be weird that she's into Percy. So it was either, like, a weird situation with Odysseus or...
I think it's one of those things where she's whatever age is appropriate for you. Because she's 3,000, when the hero washes up on shore, her appearance becomes whatever age would match.
Yeah, but see, then that's a problem because, like, she might look 15, 16, but she's not.
It's not her fault.
Well, we don't know what's like inside her brain. Because no, my point is though, like if her outside appearance looks like she's 16, I feel like what the gods are doing to her as part of her punishment is making her brain also 16.
Look, I have empathy. I have empathy for her situation.
Do you?
This is yet another miserable immortal that we are meeting, okay? If I was stuck on an island by myself, I would lose it, okay?
Have you lived in a yassified cave for 3,000 years with no company, Mallory? I don't think so.
Not a yassified cave.
Her cave is beautiful, but it is
It is.
yassified. You know what I
It
mean?
is
Like,
but what?
did you not read the same chapters I did? It's yassified like to the 11th degree. Like it's very nice. Like if in today's world, like she would have fairy lights and like a canopy and like it's like that. Is that not what yassified is? Am I using it wrong? Hold on. Am I using it incorrectly?
I don't think necessarily. I think it could apply. I just never heard it in
Right,
that context.
Right. The ceiling glittered with different color crystal formations.
That's pretty cute.
Like I was inside one of those cut geodes you see in souvenir shops. I was lying on a comfortable bed with feather pillows and white cotton sheets. The cave was divided into sections by white silk curtains. Against one wall stood a large loom and a harp. Like, come on. It's yassified. It's like Rapunzel and Tangled. Like she has this very small sanctuary, right, that she's trapped in, but it's hers, and so she decorates it the way she wants, right? I'm assuming the loom and the harp are there as hobbies, and she also has jars of fruit preserves, right, and dried herbs. Like it's very like cottagecore.
Kind of giving trad wife.
No, she has no husband though.
I'm just being a hater, and you know what?
Okay, in case you couldn't tell, I like Calypso.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
listen, I guess I shouldn't have even brought it up. I just need the people, if you know, you know. I need the people to know that
Boo.
I'm not about Calypso. No matter how sweet she seems in these chapters, I don't trust her.
Boo. Leave her alone. She's literally forced to fall in love with these people by the fate.
And she lets him go. She gives him a boat to go away.
What more do you want?
I don't understand. This is the mistake you make in inviting me on a podcast with Julie and nobody else as a buffer.
Right, you're gonna gang up on me.
Yeah, we are.
Well, I didn't come here tonight knowing that Julie and I agree about this, but since we do, yeah, I'm gonna gang up on you.
That's fine.
That's what happens.
Julie also doesn't like Clarice, so you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Whoa. That's really rude. Would you speak to a guest like that?
Yeah,
God, Mal.
I sure would.
Where's your etiquette? Southern
Yeah.
hospitality, my ass.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't live in the South anymore. Anyway, the events of this chapter. So, Percy wakes up on this island.
Mhm.
He's not in great shape. Probably the worst shape we've ever seen him in. I think the closest comparison would be like when Luke attacked him with the scorpion in the first book,
Mm.
and he kind of had to be nursed back to health then too.
Mhm.
Or also, like, I guess when he arrived to camp, there was a similar nursing back to health situation.
Although it's clearer that the amount of time that he was like out and drained is much less. Here it's very ambiguous, I think, how long he's been gone and sick.
And so here we meet Calypso, and I love that in his description he says that this island looks like a paradise, which makes him seem nervous because paradises are typically places where he gets almost killed. Because I'm glad that he's learning that.
But he can also get almost killed in other places too. Like it's
Right. But it seemed like they were a little too trusting, like the last time they went to a paradise, which was Circe's island, and then they went to like the Cyclops' island, which was also a paradise. Like he's learning, he's growing, he's changing.
just like they said the little monsters would, not the Lady Gaga fans.
The monsters having the video, they're gonna get fangs and they're gonna.
Your bodies are changing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Good news is Percy still has Riptide and he has his dog Whistle, but
Right.
he looks and feels like he was involved in a volcanic eruption. So
Because he was.
Yeah.
And without Annabeth to tell him, Percy does not remember Calypso from the myths. So he just kind of hopes that she isn't evil. But I also think if he wasn't gravely injured, I think he could have figured it. Like, I think his brain is not working at prime capacity.
Mhm.
We'll let it slide. And he figures that she probably isn't evil because why would he still be alive if she was? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think someone might want to nurse you back to health to
Just
like,
to kill
let your
you?
guard- yeah, to let your
Oh,
get your guard down and
what?
then
Like an angel of death thing.
yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I feel like even if you wanted to nurse someone back to health just to kill them, you wouldn't waste a good pair of clothes on them, right?
That's
Like
true.
why would you take the care to do that?
Also, one of my favorite things in this chapter is when Percy describes his voice as sounding like a frog that has spent time in a microwave.
Yeah, excellent.
Like
Like what does that sound
something
like?
about that that's just so like the spent time in a microwave.
Mhm.
Like it's so not specific, but yet you know exactly because it doesn't say a frog that's been microwaved. No, it's just a frog that has spent time in a microwave.
Which I think is a euphemism for has been microwaved slightly, right? No?
Right, but it's like that's not what you said, and that makes it funnier. Percy also asks like how long it's been. Calypso says she doesn't know.
Right.
And she tells him that he talks in his sleep. And he says he's been told that before. And now I'm thinking about the parallels because Annabeth also told him he talks in his sleep in the first book.
Mm.
This was after she told him he drools in his sleep.
Oh.
And, you know, in that book, she also kind of nursed him back to health after he got to camp and, like, had been attacked by the Minotaur. Of course, you know, she was doing it because she wanted information and, like, she thought he was
Right.
her getting a quest, which, like, he ended up being. So Annabeth's hobbies include knowing and being right. But, you know, it's different, but also they parallel each other. And it's just... Oh, making Calypso, like, the first introduction with Calypso parallel the first introduction with Annabeth is... It's good. It's good. I'll give it to Rick. Parallels.
Rick is an excellent writer.
Oh, yeah.
Everything in the Percy Jackson books is a parallel either with something in its own series or with something established in mythology.
That's true.
He's done very good research.
Lots of good parallels.
What I was having a hard time with is that when I first read this book ages ago, I don't remember Calypso sticking out to me at all. But I'm reading it today, and I think this is on purpose the way it's written, because it's written in first person, so we're getting Percy's point of view. But I was reading it and I was like, she sounds beautiful. Like if I was a teenager again and this time I knew I was queer, game over.
I'm staying there forever. In paradise with a cute girl.
Yeah, you know, it would get me too. It would get me too. But, you know, just to keep her fresh in our minds, Calypso immediately asks, "Who's Annabeth?" and tells us, he's been talking about Annabeth in his sleep, apparently a lot, because this is the
Yeah.
first name that she gave. And Percy says, she's a friend. But there's a hesitation there because they did not have time to DTR, aka define the relationship, after their big kiss.
Yeah, that's true.
And now he's here with another girl!
Okay, right. So this is another one of those things where it's like, are they in a relationship just because they kissed and they mutually like each other? Like, no, they have to DTR.
Right, you have to.
So he's not doing anything wrong because he hasn't been given the opportunity to even.
Oh, right. I'm not saying that, like, Percy is cheating or anything. I'm just saying
You're saying
that
that Calypso is a homewrecker, though, potentially, is the vibe I'm
no,
getting.
no.
Calypso's Ariana Grande in this situation.
Oh my God.
He can make whatever choices he wants because they're not in a relationship.
But I feel like I'm getting the vibe that you are upset that Calypso is even presenting herself as an opportunity. Because that's getting in the way of Percabeth, right?
Percabeth.
Percabeth, whatever. Percabeth.
Percabeth sounds better because it sounds like Percocet.
His name is Percy, not Perky.
I don't care. I'm calling it Percabeth.
Perky Jackson. Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, it's not that I'm more mad at the situation because like I don't think either of them would have chosen this. They like chosen to be here, and because it ends up
Right.
kind of hurting them both, I think is the reason that it frustrates me.
Yeah.
It's not even, it goes beyond just coming in the way of Percabeth.
Well, so who's to blame is the gods, right? Because at the end he talks about like his biggest what if, and he sails away knowing that he's gonna like never forget this, which kind of sucks for Annabeth, right? That I understand. But it's not Calypso's fault. It's the gods. They've put her on the
Right.
island, they punished her this way, and they brought Percy to her.
So more lore about the island. It's called Ogygia, and it's this phantom island, so it's like not near anything, and like you can't really leave. You also can't really find it. It's just kind of luck. And
Mhm.
he's very worried about getting back to his friends, and clearly has been mentioning Grover and Tyson in his sleep as well, because Calypso also knows their names. Did kind of make me wonder about the empathy link thing again, like maybe Grover trying to contact him in his dreams, but I think you might have been onto something with the he's just locked in on Pan and maybe has no idea that this even happened.
That is like his life's work. I don't think anything will pull him away from that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And like Percy also says later that he tried to contact Grover but couldn't.
So I think it is like a you send out a message, whether or
Yeah.
not that's conscious, I don't know, but then the other person has to either consciously or unconsciously be open to receiving the message, which I don't think Grover is because he's so locked in.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Calypso does promise that she's not an evil sorceress and she's not going to turn him into a guinea pig, and Percy almost passes out again. Good times.
Yeah.
And then when he wakes up, it's nighttime, and he's looking at the constellations that he says Annabeth taught him. Like she's very in the forefront of his mind. We just have to bring her up as much as possible. Yeah, okay. This next part makes me want to die because Percy says, quote, "However amazing the stars were, Calypso was twice as brilliant. I mean, I've seen the goddess of love herself, Aphrodite, and I would never say this out loud or she'd blast me to ashes, but for my money, Calypso was a lot more beautiful because she just seemed so natural. Like she wasn't trying to be beautiful and didn't even care about that. She just
Ugh.
was. With her braided hair and white dress, she seemed to glow in the moonlight."
Okay, so I
So,
understand what he's
yeah.
talking about because I understand the appeal, but I'm also like, oh, he's one of those guys who like wants a no makeup look. Like, stop.
Right, yes. Like, I'm like, this is such a boy thing to say.
Yeah.
But then, if you overanalyze it the way that I do, I'm thinking about how when Percy met Aphrodite, right?
Mhm.
He said, for a moment, she looked a little like Annabeth.
True.
And now you're saying that Calypso is more
Oh.
beautiful than Aphrodite, who looked like Annabeth to you not even 6 months ago. I could kill him. Don't do Annabeth like that, sir.
But okay, but I think Percy also knows looks are not everything, right?
I mean, clearly, he wants a girl who's natural and doesn't care about beauty.
I don't think Annabeth cares about her beauty. Like, do you think she wears makeup? No way.
No. She started wearing earrings, and Percy was like, this is weird.
Okay, what are those things on your ears?
It's like, you have little owls on your ears.
Yeah.
That's
Different.
girl. Anyway. Then they have a sweet little garden planting scene, and they plant moonlace, and they talk about Manhattan and
Yeah.
why Calypso is stuck on this island. And turns out she is a daughter of Atlas, just like Zoe was. And Percy's like, you shouldn't be punished for what your dad did.
Mhm.
And she gets all weird and asks like if he'll be ready to leave soon, and very quickly like tells him goodnight. And Percy's like, what did I do? You know, he doesn't know a lot about what's happened. He doesn't know how long it's been. He doesn't know if Annabeth has made it out or if Grover and Tyson are okay. But also, he is incredibly drained from the literal natural disaster that he caused. So he's kind of like, I don't feel like a prisoner, but also I can't leave. And then he just passes the time by being a simp for Calypso. And the way that he's like, she doesn't talk much about herself, but that just makes me want to know more. I hate it.
Also like Annabeth.
Oh, that too. God.
I also I mean, no offense to Percy, she's like literally the only girl around right now, so
Yeah, put her and Annabeth together and see who Percy's hanging out with. That's what I'm saying.
right. But also like the gods have the power, I feel like, to affect his own his emotions, don't they?
Aphrodite did promise an interesting path for him. Yeah. He also just keeps watching her while she's working, and then they'll like make eye contact and she'll get sad and look away, and Percy has no idea what's going on because he's a clueless boy and he doesn't remember the myth.
Yeah.
And he does finally ask why she keeps getting all sad, and she explains that she's stuck on this island because she supported the Titans in the First War. And Percy gets all like, what? The Titans are evil. And she
Yeah.
makes a very good point, being like, are they? All of them? All the time? Do you support the gods because they're right or because they're your family? And Percy thinks, oh, you
Deep.
know, maybe I do support them because my dad is Poseidon. And like, maybe I spoke too soon calling myself a Calypso hater, because I do love when someone brings a little bit of nuance to a situation.
You came right out of the gate with that.
I know. I'm like, maybe that was too
Yeah.
harsh. At least for
Okay.
Calypso at this current moment. But I'm like,
She's just a girl.
there is also nuance to the Calypso situation, and I apologize for saying I'm a hater. She and I are not besties.
I support women's rights and wrongs.
And usually so do I, but something about Calypso's
It's not her
wrongs.
fault. She's literally being forced to fall in love with these people. God, Mal.
It's not. No, you're right. You're right.
And it only happens like once every what, like 100,000
thing.
whatever years. Are you not a romantic, Mallory? Is that why this is like an issue? Julie, are you romantic? I feel like you can be romantic, right?
I am a hopeless romantic.
See, okay, I'm trying to like allude to something sort of for like people who might be listening to this who know without spoiling anything. Cuz there's a certain consequence to this whole Calypso situation that comes to play in the next series, and that is the reason that I'm like, no. So yeah, because in this book she's perfectly lovely, and I really do feel for her. And I dug myself into a hole by saying I was a Calypso hater about something that's like 5 books from now.
You didn't answer my question though. Are you a romantic or not?
I love, but I'm like, I love to read.
But are you like rational?
Maybe?
Oh my God, what's that like?
I don't know. Okay, I'm a little bit of a romantic. Yeah.
I think on a scale of like 0 to me and Julie, though, I don't think you're on our tier. No offense. Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
Honestly, it's a better place to
Yeah.
be is where you are probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know how Julie feels. I hate it about myself sometimes.
It makes
though.
you do crazy things. Dumb things.
Yes.
Hurts your feelings.
Just like Hephaestus says, he's like, be careful of love. It'll have you feeling like up is down and what's right is wrong, and yeah.
Way to tie it back in.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Right. Look at me. I'm very good at this.
Yes. Yes, you are. Was it last time when you said no one says they're proud of you? I'm proud of you.
I will cry right now. Don't say nice things about me. I will cry.
Words of affirmation are Mal's love language. Those get her.
Oh, really?
Those 100% get her.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we get interrupted by Hephaestus. And of course, the first thing Percy asks about is Annabeth. Hephaestus says she's okay. She found her way back to him and told him the whole story. And now everyone thinks that he's dead. And Hephaestus wanted to make sure that he was coming back before he said anything. And he shows him like the news coverage of Mount St. Helens, the eruption that he caused. And this has led to 500,000 evacuations as well as minor injuries and illnesses. Great work, Percy.
But no deaths.
No deaths.
And minor injuries, not serious.
Well, there's people
So-
missing though, so that could be bad.
Well,
He also
Yeah.
might have started to awaken Typhon, so that's fun.
That's also, yeah.
And Percy kind of takes all this in and goes, oh my god, perhaps I'm too dangerous for civilization and should just stay here.
Yeah.
Which is a lot for a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And there's been no word from Grover or Tyson, and Percy's kind of at a loss in terms of what to do from here. So Hephaestus gives him some advice. As mentioned before, be careful of love. And he also gives Percy the answer that was promised when they agreed to go check out the forge. And Hephaestus explains that Ariadne's string is fine, but the real secret is that Theseus had the mortal princess who could see very well to guide him through the maze. Are you picking up what he's throwing down here, Julie?
I think. It's, what's her face? It's part of my predictions. So we'll wait.
Amazing. I'm excited for your predictions. And so part of me was kind of like, it's wild of him to come all this way to tell Percy this when he could have just told Annabeth when she found her way back to the forges. But I feel like for the same reason that Hera didn't tell Annabeth, it's because Annabeth is not willing to accept this as her answer. And that's all I'm going to say about that, just in case you are not picking up what we're throwing down here. And then Percy has to decide if he's leaving after all, and he wonders if Daedalus is even going to help them or if he's too bitter and angry. And Hephaestus says he doesn't know, but Percy shouldn't judge him until he's, quote, stood at his forge and worked with his hammer. So, a good reminder for us all, but would it kill the gods to not be so freaking vague all the time?
Yeah, it would kill them. And they're immortal, so.
And then Hephaestus leaves, and Percy has to talk to Calypso again, and she officially offers to let him stay. He'd be immortal, he could escape from all his responsibilities, and this great prophecy that they still haven't told us. And Calypso tells him that that's her curse. Every so often a hero is sent to her island that she falls in love with, but it's always someone who can't stay. And Percy's like, me? And this book is really just everyone has a crush on Percy and he has no idea because he was also kind of blindsided when Annabeth kissed him. Like,
Okay, but he has feelings for Annabeth. He just, right, it's just like, he doesn't think Annabeth takes him back like that.
yeah. Yeah, so this is like Percy is just kind of shocked
Mm.
that someone else could have feelings for him.
That would be me, yeah.
You know, he does think about staying, but ultimately he can't because now he knows the answer to navigating the maze, and so he has to go back. And so there's a little magic raft there for him, and it can take him wherever he wants. He's like, maybe I can come back and visit, but Calypso says no man ever finds the place twice, so they're never going to see each other again. And she tells him to go and plant a garden in Manhattan for her. And then he says that the curse works both ways, and he would be thinking about her for the rest of his life, and she'd always be his greatest what if.
Which is kind of messed up, but it's not her fault.
Calypso is so set up for failure here by the, like, soulmateism of Percabeth, because, like, if this was anyone else, this would be so romantic. I would be like, oh my god, I would be looking for fanfics where he stayed, but because like Annabeth and Percy, like I'm rooting for them so hard, I'm like, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. What do you mean your greatest what if? You have Annabeth. You can't be thinking about Calypso for the rest of your life.
Oh my god. I think, but you can love someone, right? And like be actively in love with them and devoted to them, and also like I think it's natural to be like, what would have happened if I chose a different path? I don't think it's necessarily like because he's hung up about his feelings for Calypso. I think it's just like the human wondering, you know?
I think it's less of a regret than just kind of a what would have happened.
Curiosity. Yeah.
We end this one with Percy telling the raft to take him home to camp, which is sweet. All right, so I have one question for you, Julie.
Yeah.
How long do you think he's been gone?
Oh, that's a good question, because not only is like time crazy on Calypso's island, but also in the labyrinth. So like it's like a double time fuck, because like Annabeth could think he was gone for like a certain amount of time. Meanwhile, they both have been gone out of the real world for like a crazy amount of time, or no time at all. I'm gonna say, oh god, I really don't even know. I'm gonna say at least like 2 weeks. because he was almost dead.
Okay, so I know I've been saying chapters 11 and 12 are some of my favorite chapters, but like chapter 13 is my favorite chapter. I think it's just good. I love it. And that's why we are doing only chapter 13 next time, because I
Oh.
want to give it the love and the attention that it deserves.
Wow.
So, any predictions for chapter 13?
Yes. Okay. We hire a new guide. It's that girl. The Rachel, what's her name? Rachel Dare? Is that her name?
Rachel Elizabeth Dare?
Yeah, her. Also, her initials are red. I don't know if that means anything, but I was thinking about that.
They sure are. And she's a redhead.
Oh,
Interesting. We'll read into that later. She's the guide because she's mortal and she can see the monsters. So I think it's just like that princess that Hephaestus. Is that how you say his name?
yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
He was talking about. Yeah.
Hephaestus,
So
yeah.
I think it's her. She's going to lead them.
Could be. Could be. Any thoughts on how the Percabeth relationship will progress from here?
You seem very excited about it, so I assume it's gonna go well. I think they're gonna put it off. I think they're gonna be so awkward when they see each other. I hope, at least. I think it'll be funny.
Next time, we'll be back with chapter 13. Thanks for being here with us, Laura.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again.
Anytime.
Later.
Bye.
Hi, thanks for listening. If you want more of us, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at DemigodDebutPod. And if you liked what you heard, please drop us a review wherever you listen. See you in 2 weeks for more Battle of the Labyrinth.